Thank you for joining with me for the meditation for lesson 221. Go ahead and sit with your back supported, head and neck free. Peace to my mind, let all my thoughts be still. Father, I come to you today to seek the peace that you alone can give. I come in silence, in the quiet of my heart, the deep recesses of my mind. I wait and listen for your voice. My Father, speak to me today. I come to hear your voice in silence and in certainty and love. Sure, you will hear my call and answer me. Now do we wait in quiet. God is here because we wait together. I am sure that he will speak to you and you will hear. Accept my confidence, for it is yours. Our minds are joined. We wait with one intent, to hear our Father's answer to our call, to let our thoughts be still and find his peace, to hear him speak to us of what we are and to reveal himself unto his Son. Peace to my mind, let all my thoughts be still. Peace to my mind, let all my thoughts be still. We again find reference to the opening verse of Psalm 46. Be still and know that I am God. I cannot come to God with noise in my mind, or if it is filled with little prayers asking for little things, for example, specifics in this world. Nor can I come to Him thinking I know the way. I come only in silence when I have emptied my heart, i.e., my mind, of all ego thoughts. In that silence, God, through His voice, will speak to me. We come to God through our relationship with Jesus, who represents the part of our minds that has accepted the truth of the atonement. We have not left our source. Joining with Him is thus joining with the sonship, for the mind of God's Son is one. And this is from the text, chapter 8, section 6, paragraph 8. Our function is to work together because apart from each other we cannot function at all. The whole power of God's Son lies in all of us, but not in any of us alone. And then this is chapter 5, section 2, paragraph 9. And it's sentences 1 through 3. My mind will always be like yours because we were created as equals. It was only my decision that gave me all power in heaven and earth. My only gift to you is to help you make the same decision. And that's Jesus talking to us. We have seen many times already, and in the text as well, that we are like Jesus and He is like us. Sorry, dogs. The only difference is that we do not know this equality, which He will teach us. We need Jesus as an elder brother that we may learn from Him that the sinlessness we perceive in Him echoes the sinlessness in ourselves. This is from the text, chapter 4, section 3. I will never forsake you any more than God will. But I must wait as long as you choose to forsake yourself, because I wait in love and not in impatience. You will surely ask me truly. I will come in response to a single, unequivocal call. Our silence reflects our unequivocal call. Sorry, it's a mouthful. And allows us to hear God's answer of unity with Him, a oneness joined as one. And that's the text, chapter 25. So I have a disclaimer. The commentary is not me. It's Kenneth Wapnick. And I'm not reading all of it. So if you are interested in getting his books, Journey Through the Workbook of A Course in Miracles, I may add a few comments that are my own, but truly all of these comments that I say after the lessons are Ken Wapnick. So with lesson 221, we are moving into the second section of the workbook for students. The workbook, and this is from the workbook. The workbook is divided into two main sections, the first dealing with the undoing of the way you see now, and the second with the acquisition of true perception. And so we are moving into part 2 of the workbook now. Okay, and this is the introduction to part 2. Words will mean little now, and I'm not reading the whole thing, just a bit. This theme is familiar to us by now, Jesus emphasizing how we must faithfully practice what He has taught, learning not to be dependent on the form, but only His content. Each of these lessons, except at the end of part 2, comes in 2 parts. One consists of a prayer addressed to God as Father, and this is always written in italics. The other consists of a message or teaching, and is frequently in the first person, which reminds us that our teacher is Jesus. There are some rare exceptions where the I is ourselves, and we find that sometimes the prayer is first and other times the message. Another familiar point bears repeating insofar as these prayers are directed to God as Father. You may remember that in Lesson 183, Jesus says that God does not hear our little prayers, and throughout A Course in Miracles, he teaches that God or Spirit does not know about our separated and changing self. For example, and this is from the text, chapter 4. Nothing can reach Spirit from the ego, and nothing can reach the ego from Spirit. They are fundamentally irreconcilable because Spirit cannot perceive and the ego cannot know. They are therefore not in communication and can never be in communication. And then this is chapter 4, section 2. Spirit in its knowledge is unaware of the ego. It does not attack it. It merely cannot conceive of it at all. And then chapter 30, section 3. Nothing that God knows not exists, and what he knows exists forever, changelessly. In the manual, Jesus explicitly states that God does not understand words which were made to keep us separate from him. Yet here in part 2 we have one prayer after another, one more lovely than the preceding one, each of which is directed toward God. However, we should not take them to mean that we are literally praying to God our source, and that he hears our words. These prayers are meant for us. In other words, Jesus is having us experience our gratitude to God, how much we truly love him, and how mistaken we have been in our choices against him and his love. The prayers to God as Father should thus be seen as symbolic, and it is essential to understand the difference between symbol and source. In calling God Father, Jesus is not saying God is a person who hears our prayers and answers them. Everything in A Course in Miracles speaks against that. These are but symbols that meet us where we believe we are, for it is clearly helpful to think of God as a loving Father, the right-minded correction of the ego's misperception that God is hateful. Before we can realize that God is not a father at all, is not a member of Homo sapiens, and does not have a body, we first have to undo the ego's wrong-minded thought system of sin and punishment. The basic theme found explicitly in many lessons and implicitly in all of them is our having been mistaken. Son of God, you have not sinned, but you have been much mistaken. And that's from the text, chapter 10, section 5. Part 2 assumes that we have learned what Jesus taught us in part 1, recognizing we have wrong and right minds and have made the correct choice. In our right minds, we realize our choices for the ego were merely mistaken attempts to uphold our specialness and prove we were right and everyone else wrong, that our happiness comes at the expense of another. I will continually, this Ken saying that, Ken will continually refer to this crucial thought as we move through part 2. So part 2 begins with what is forgiveness. So we begin part 2 with the first in a series of 14 summaries that encapsulate the thought system of A Course in Miracles. Its subject is forgiveness, which is the Course's single most important theme. We have been forgiven by the Holy Spirit for what we have not done. We are asked to share that same forgiveness with others, reinforcing the truth of atonement in ourselves and all our brothers. I will conclude today with this inspiring passage from the text, describing the Holy Spirit's extension of forgiveness through our minds. healed as we bring the darkened thoughts of guilt to His radiant light. This is chapter 22 in the text, section 6, paragraph 9. What can it be but universal blessing to look on what your Father loves with charity? Extension of forgiveness is the Holy Spirit's function. Leave this to Him. Let your concern be only that you give to Him that which can be extended. Save no dark secrets that He cannot use, but offer Him the tiny gifts He can extend forever. He will take each one and make of it a potent force for peace. He will withhold no blessing from it nor limit it in any way. He will join to it all the power that God has given Him to make each little gift of love a source of healing for everyone. Each little gift you offer to your brother lights up the world. Be not concerned with darkness. Look away from it and toward your brother, and let the darkness be dispelled by Him who knows the light and lays it gently in each quiet smile of faith and confidence with which you bless your brother. Thank you so much for joining with me. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you tomorrow.